Thank you. Portal Williams.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the work that Tracy Martin has done on behalf of grandparents everywhere and other kin carers. Thank you very much for the work. I'm not going to take too long because I don't want to stand between you and the passing of this bill, but I do want to acknowledge another person who spoke on the first reading of this bill, Dr Rajan Prasad, a colleague of mine who is not in the House any longer, but a social worker extraordinaire, a man who knew about the care of children, and someone who was very passionate about this bill and would be very happy to know that it was passing this evening. This bill, Mr Speaker, is about the equitability of access for allowances for kin carers of children, to bring them in line with the allowances for foster children. And we've traversed the complexity of family issues over the course of this bill. But before we had whānau ora, Mr Speaker, we had Puao Te Atatu, which really was the genesis of the work that went to support the original idea of kin carers some 20 odd years ago, perhaps more than that. I was talking with a colleague today, we were trying to figure out when that happened, but it was some 20 years ago, which has become really what we would know as whānau ora today. Puao Te Atatu, Mr Speaker, talked about developing processes for families to take the primary role of care of their children when the parents were unable to do so, when it became impossible for parents to continue with that care. Today, Mr Speaker, what we are going to do is to pass this legislation which will allow for those kin carers to have the same rights to allowances that other foster carers have. But the only small but important blight on this is the commencement date. It's a shame that these children won't have access to these allowances before 2018. It's been well traversed throughout the House. It is the only thing that really is otherwise a really fantastic bill. So on that note, Mr Speaker, my commendations to Tracy Martin. I commend the bill to the House.